6 months for lasting peace or years of long, exhausting war. Volodymyr Zelenskyy has presented the world with a harsh choice. The publication Glavred reveals the details of the president's latest statement. Ukraine's fate in the coming months depends on a single answer from Moscow. Yesterday,
we spoke with President Trump, and I said that we need a trilateral meeting at the leaders' level with Putin. That is, President Trump told me that we need to work on this. In other words, his attitude was positive. So I said that it depends on various things. That is, if Putin is ready for a trilateral meeting, then we have a chance. We have a chance in these 6 months, these few months, to meet and try to end the war. Then, if he is not ready, I think that after the electronic war, it will be more difficult. In the US or even a little earlier. Without these issues, it will be even more difficult to have a dialogue with the Russians.
Zelenskyy officially voiced the idea that he discussed with Donald Trump. A trilateral meeting at the level of leaders. Will Putin agree to enter into direct dialogue under pressure from Washington? And exactly why is it that the president calls these next few months absolutely critical and decisive for ending the war? At this very moment, let's break down Kyiv's major diplomatic gamble. Well, you will be able to find much more detailed information in our full report. My name is Yevhen Sirov, this is the Glavred channel, subscribe and hit like. Let's get started. As reported by Glavred, Zelenskyy's key message is as follows. If Putin agrees to a trilateral meeting with Zelenskyy and Trump, it is actually possible to end the war within the next 6 months. This is the first time that Kyiv has named such specific and short time frames. This format is not just negotiations. It is an attempt to involve the authority of the United States as a guarantor of the agreement's implementation. Zelenskyy emphasizes that a positive decision from Russia would give a real chance to stop the bloodshed as early as this spring or summer. However, the main nuance remains unchanged. Ukraine will not make concessions.
You are talking about a trilateral meeting. The Russians ran with the idea that you were going to Moscow to meet with Vladimir Putin.
Because they already know that I won't go there. I could even invite Putin to come to Kyiv. I don't want to play games with the complex question of how to end this war through mutual denial. For us, this is real. And for us, this war is a huge problem. A powerful enemy for Europe, for the whole world, I'm sure. Yes, but we are in this. That's why we want to end it. That's why we are under pressure. I'm not playing games with Putin. I am fully prepared to meet and talk with you.
But only on entirely neutral territory.
Not even neutral, but not Russian, and not Belarus. Because they are armed during this war. Belarus is a passive aggressor. Very much so. Because they have shielded us from Belarusian terror.
But when you examine the recent diplomatic talks and consider how they actually unfolded, perhaps it is a bit bold to suggest, but one could argue that both sides were simply going through the motions. It appears that not just Ukraine, but Russia as well, might be waiting to see what happens with Trump. That is the primary reason these discussions are happening now, even though it seems that no one is actually prepared to try for a real breakthrough yet.
It's not about us. It's not about that. Honestly, this conversation isn't just about the current president of the United States of America. They really did put both sides on the scoreboard. That's absolutely true. Because without the support of the United States, we wouldn't even be able to sit down and talk with them. Because they're cold-blooded killers, just killers. But we believe that the US is significantly stronger than they even believe about themselves. And I believe that is absolutely true. And they have significant diplomatic leverage over Putin. They can bring this entire war to an end.
However, the president's statement also contains some troubling warnings. If Russia refuses to meet or continues with ultimatums, the war will enter a prolonged phase. Glavred quotes Zelenskyy's words without direct dialogue. At the highest level, the conflict could drag on for years, exhausting resources. On both sides, this warning is addressed not only to the Kremlin, but also to Western partners. Zelenskyy makes it clear that the time for illusions is over. Either there will be a major diplomatic breakthrough right now, mediated by Donald Trump, or Ukraine and the rest of the world must prepare for a long, grueling survival marathon where the stakes will only continue to rise even further. Why is Zelenskyy confident in a 6-month window of opportunity? The answer lies in his communication with the Trump administration. The publication Glevred notes that the idea of a trilateral summit was voiced during a personal conversation between the presidents of the US and Ukraine. Zelenskyy is counting on Trump's pragmatism, as he wants quick results. If Trump can force Putin to sit down at the negotiating table without any preconditions about surrendering territory, it would be the greatest possible diplomatic victory of the century. What do you think? Will Putin dare to attend a trilateral meeting with Zelenskyy and Trump? Or will he continue to hide behind nuclear blackmail? Do you believe it is possible to end this war within 6 months? Under such a scenario? Share your thoughts in the comments.